So climate change, particularly global warming, it's a huge problem that we have to look at. Global warming doesn't affect only agriculture. It affects livelihoods. It affects populations. Right now, we have seen it in Syria. We have seen it in East Africa. A lot of drought spell takes you into armed conflict and takes you into migration. The linkages are clear. It's not a straight line, but we could see the trends. So with climate change, we will have more displacement of people, and we will have much more crises to look at. With all these numbers, it shows by the end in poverty and malnutrition. So in 2020, which seems to be really normally a year where we should be very close to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030, we have still about 600 million people that are poor. So here it shows you the numbers and the projection, and you see that certain countries in Latin America, most probably they're going to go below 3% in 2030, but you could see in Africa, most of the country most probably wouldn't get it. So, and poverty, it's one angle to it. The other angle is malnutrition, and we talk about triple burden of malnutrition. So in malnutrition, you see over the last few years, in comparison between 2018 and 2000, we got few countries that we have, or regions that have much less malnutrition, but we have West and Central Asia where the numbers are going up. And you could link them again with drought, climate change, and then displacement of people and armed conflict. So the situation, it's not rosy. The situation is very bad, unfortunately, and all the numbers shows that we won't get to SDGs by 2030 unless we, for this last decade, we have 10 years, we have one decade to do things differently. And one of the things that we have to do differently, it's new food system. It's developing crops that are far better for the environment, that are far better for the people, and that are far better for everything on Mother Planet. And that's where biodiversity comes into play. Let me show you the numbers. So worldwide, we have about 500 million species, 400,000. So in this 400,000, we have about 30,000 that are edible. So it means historically, we have been able to eat them, and they are okay for us, and we get nutrient out of them. About 6,000, it's documented, that has been produced at a scale. So they have been produced, and they have been produced by farmers in different eras. And then when you go to the market right now, you find about 150 only. So the question is, why do we leave 400,000 and focus on 150? Why do we leave 30,000 that we know we can eat and focus on 150? And when you dig more in details, you find about 3 that give you 60% and about 9 when you add potato and sugarcane and few others that give you the majority. So the market, it's not representative of the biodiversity. And the biodiversity exists on Mother Earth. I mean, whatever religion you believe in, normally the first thing you do, you start using the things around you. And nature shows us it's diverse. Nature shows us that with more things, it grows better. Nature shows us there is a symbiosis always. We might not be able to grasp it. We might not be able to understand it fully, but it exists. It is there, and we have to use it. So what we are looking at ICBA is what we call other crops. So we call them, in a nutshell, alternative crops. Those alternative crops, and because the center is very focused on salinity tolerance, one of the criteria we look at is salinity tolerance. So we look at crops that we call climate resilient crops, and those have mostly salinity tolerance, they have heat tolerance, and drought tolerance. And those crops are, for example, quinoa, that I'm going to